Hi guys, I just want to do a quick rundown of some perfumes that I've been squirreling away. They've just been in a box because they've been in my blind buy hauls, but they're things that I don't want to keep or things that I just haven't worn. So they haven't turned up in any of my other videos yet, but I will be wanting to get rid of these. I want to declutter them, so I wanted to make a video before I do that. I do not want in any way this video to suggest that you can't get good cheapies, because you can. I think there's a lot of really good cheapies. I've got loads that I love, but these either didn't work for me, or they are just things that are too similar to things I've already got, or I just don't love them enough to keep. Because I have so many perfumes, I have to love something in order to keep it now. So I'm going to start with one that I've had for, actually years, and I just kept forgetting to talk about. So this is 007 for women. I think this is the original one. They don't really have names that are easy to find here, so anyway. So this one, the reason this doesn't work for me is because it's a kind of sweet, traditional, fruity, perfumey kind of smell that gives me a little bit of a vibe of a fruit chili without necessarily being a fruit chili, or at least it doesn't list patchouli. So I have to just believe them and assume there isn't patchouli in it, but it gives me that kind of fruit chili vibe. And those are that's just not a genre of perfumes that I can enjoy. I've never liked fruit chilies. So this is top notes of black pepper, rose and bergamot, middle notes of blackberry, gardenia and jasmine, base notes black vanilla husk, cedar and white musk. So yeah, it's very sweet, it's super perfumey, it's fruity, it's floral. I think maybe the rose might be a bit dominant here. Definitely get some black pepper. But the strongest thing here to me is the blackberry. And so, although this isn't for me, I think if you like things like, is it Haute Couture, is it called? And if you like, to be honest, if you like things like Flower Bomb, that kind of thing, you might really, really enjoy this. I do think it's unusual to have such a strong blackberry note, and it's like obviously blackberry as well. I also think these bottles are super pretty, really, really nice. It's actually slightly transparent if you hold it up to the light, with a slightly green-black colour. But this, it's just not one that I can deal with, but it gives me vibes of like dark academia feel, that kind of thing. It's got a woodiness. Again, it feels a bit like there's patchouli, but yeah, it's just not my style of perfume, but it is a good one, and I'd recommend it if you like kind of, like classic dark academia style perfumes. If you like that vibe, then this might be for you. So next up, I hated this one. This is just one that I would not recommend. This is Nike Ultra Purple. I got this one super cheap. It was probably like £6 or £7. And I got this because it was compared to God is a Woman. Right. So I don't get God is a Woman from this at all. Like, not at all. But other people do, and the reason that I might not get it when other people do get it is because this to me just smells like an aromacalycal nightmare. I suspect that that's almost all that's in here. So I'm not really getting these notes. The notes are raspberry, bergamot and pear in the top, middle notes of rose, jasmine and pear, base notes musk, praline and vanilla, and it just does not smell good to me at all. It just smells screechy and sharp and chemically and nasty. I really, really just do not like it at all. No, I can sense some sweetness in a sickly way, but it's just sharp, and yeah, I just don't like it. If you don't have a problem with aroma chemicals, if you don't have a problem with like ambroxan and other things like that, this has like a piercing sharpness that I get in some perfumes, and yeah, this is not one that I would recommend. I do not like that one. I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, next up, again, another one. It's not for me, but it might be for you. So this is Malaysia Bonbons Sweet Candy. I have the milk cake one of this, and I think it's a great perfume. So I got a couple of others just to try, and they've not really been for me. This one, Sweet Candy, it just says sweet notes and rose. So I thought, oh, a sweet rose, a lollipop rose, that might be fun. No, I don't think this smells like just a sweet rose. I actually genuinely think it smells like a much fruitier version of Britney Spears' Fantasy. It has that kind of cupcakey smell in the base. Yeah, it really reminds me of a light more fruity, fantasy, and I don't like fantasy, so there's no point in me keeping this because that's just not, again, it's just not a profile that I enjoy, you know. But if you like fantasy, this might be a really good one for you. What's up next? Oh right, yeah, okay. So this is Halloween from Halloween. I think this is their original perfume called Halloween. This one, it's not terrible, but again, it just doesn't really work for me. So it's got this, it's a bit of a shame it's got this horrible plastic bit at the bottom because I think it could be quite a cute bottle. But anyway, this has notes of violet, C notes, banana leaf and petitgrain in the top. The middle notes are violet, magnolia, lily of the valley, tuberose and pepper. In the mid, base notes are incense, sandalwood, Madagascar, vanilla and myrrh. Now that sounds very interesting to me. When I first spray this, sharp violet, very salty C notes, and a bitter green leafy petitgrain. And sometimes I can struggle with petitgrain. I often struggle with salt. I wasn't really expecting it to be quite as salty. So I really don't like how it opens. But then the banana leaf comes through and it's got a slightly creamy, sweet, banana-y smell. That's really nice. And so I can appreciate this one. But it does seem to dry down into a little bit too much of that lily in the valley and magnolia. It's got a little bit too much salt and a little bit too much white floral going on here for me. It just doesn't work for my chemistry, if you see what I mean. Yeah, it's a little bit piercing to me, a little bit too salty, a little bit too sharp. It's just not one that I can wear personally. But I do think it's quite interesting. I think it's quite pretty. I don't find it super smoky, but I get a bit of the black pepper. I didn't find the myrrh super strong here. There's definitely a bit of sweetness, but yeah, it's just one that doesn't quite work for me. So yeah, that one has to go as well. So next up we have one that I like, but I'm not going to keep because it's not a love. So this is Curve Crush from Liz Claiborne. This is for women, pour femme. I ordered this one because it's a tea perfume with a milk note, and I thought that sounded really interesting. It's got a classic kind of 90s looking bottle. So this doesn't have top, middle and base listed, it's just got all the notes. So milk, cinnamon, sugar, vanilla, cloves, cardamom, musk, tea, ginger, pepper, floral notes and citruses. So this one, it has a milk note the way that like old school perfumes have a milk note, where they still smell perfumey, they don't actually smell particularly gourmand to me. So if you get milk in a perfume now, it tends to actually smell much more foody or much more drinky, a bit more creamy often. This is like a cold glass of milk with a classic flowery spicy tea perfume. So it has like it has this weird kind of powdery vibe. It's not at all creamy to me. It's sugary, definitely. And it's pretty. It's definitely pretty. It doesn't actually smell like Oxygen by Lanvin, but that's the kind of feel it has. It's not quite as cool as that one because this one's a bit more spicy and it doesn't smell spa-like. But in terms of kind of how the milk note comes across, mixed with like powdery florals, and in Oxygen there's like powdery iris and powdery sandalwood in that. But that one's crisper, cleaner smelling. This one's kind of sweeter, more sugary. A bit warm, spicy, but not massively. I'd say I get a bit more of the black pepper than the cloves and the cardamom. But it's light, it's pretty, it's sweet, it's really nice. The thing is, I just would never choose this over wearing Oxygen. So if I'm in the mood to wear something that has this kind of feel, I just wouldn't reach for this one. Now, if I didn't have over 200 perfumes in my collection, I would probably keep this. But because I have that many, I'm really strict about what I bring in. So if I don't love it, or if it makes me think of something else I've already got that I prefer, then I'm not going to keep it. So that's just the case with Curve Crush. But I do think this is a really cute and really nice little perfume. It didn't cost me much. I think I got this from Fragrance X, which is where I got the next one from as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that I've ever really come across a Liz Claiborne that I actively didn't like. I think they're not necessarily always for me personally, but I think they're normally really good perfumes. So next one, another tea perfume. This is Liz Claiborne Lucky Number 6. Got this cool box. It's actually got quite a cool little bottle as well, which is what drew my attention to it in the first place. And plus I love a tea perfume, so I wanted to try it. Now, the top comparison for this was Still by Jennifer Lopez. And that's one of my faves. It's one of my absolute favourite tea perfumes. It's my husband's favourite perfume, I think, of mine. So, okay, yes, it has a little bit of Still, but there's something else going on here as well that reminds me of a perfume that I don't personally like to wear. So, the notes here are lotus, tiger lily and peony. Middle notes of tea, lychee and jasmine. The base notes are cashmere wood, musk, shisho leaf and amber. So this has a kind of dry white wine smell when you first spray it on. And then it calms down and it dries down into smelling a little bit like Still. So it's still got a perfuminess to it, but it's got the noticeable tea, it's got a noticeable wood, it's got a noticeable jasmine. This also has a noticeable fruit, but whereas in Still I think that's like an apple smell, like a freshly cut apple. This, I'm not sure I'd recognise it as lychee, but it does have a kind of slightly sharp fruit smell in there that, although it doesn't smell like apple, doesn't necessarily smell like lychee. It just is in that kind of wheelhouse of a sharp fruit. It's quite floral. It's really light, pretty, easy to wear. This would be great in summer. But this smells like the love child of Jennifer Lopez Still and Sarah Jessica Parker's Lovely. Now, I like Lovely on other people, but I don't like that perfume on me. I find it a little bit too sharp. I find it just a little bit too kind of woody. It leans slightly masculine on me, and I'm not keen on the patchouli in there. So this, I think I'm not so keen on the shisho leaf, but it doesn't smell like patchouli, but it's that kind of vibe. And I think, again, if I didn't have Still, I'd probably keep it because it's pretty. I think I'd wear it. I'd definitely be able to wear this more than I can wear Lovely. Lovely is just a little bit too sharp for me. It just doesn't work. This one, it's not as sharp as it dries down. You kind of lose that kind of sharp, boozy, dry note. But yeah, I just don't like it as much as Still, so I'm never going to wear it, so there's no point in me keeping it. But it's a super pretty perfume, and it was so cheap. I think it was about £6 again. So I do recommend that one. I recommend both of the Liz Claibornes. I think they're both really nice perfumes. They're just, again, they're just not beating out things I already have. So then we have two from the same house. So this is a tester bottle, hence this rather unattractive box. Lujo Milano. So this perfume is compared to Angel Muse by Mugler. And I totally see it. So this is the big hefty bottle with the glitter. So Lujo Milano, this one has top notes of almond, orange and mandarin orange, middle notes of hazelnut, cacao and orange blossom, base notes vanilla, tonka bean, vetiver and patchouli. So when I first spray this, I get chocolate orange, but like the juiciest orange, a lovely bit of kind of dark chocolate smell. And then you get a bit more of the hazelnut coming through. And yeah, you do get that kind of Nutella, but with quite a lot of orange in. So it's like a chocolate orange version of Angel Muse. And then like in the very, very deep dry down, it's very sugary. Not massively creamy, but very sugary. And then you've got the patchouli. I mean, it's okay. I don't think it's as nice as the Mugler patchouli, but I mean, to be honest, I can't wear that either because that's, when I say nice, I mean, I understand why other people like that, but I'm not a patchouli fan. So I do get the flowers in this when it dries down. And for me, I don't really enjoy gourmands that I can really recognise florals in. If I'm going to go gourmand, I tend to like it when it's super like food-like, or if it's food-like with wood or something. I don't tend to like it if it also has florals because then it smells perfumey to me and I'm not really keen on that mixture, and I get this here. Now in the mid kind of wear of this also on my skin smells like antiseptic. So I do get that sometimes with perfumes. That might be a skin chemistry thing. It might be the type of patchouli they're using here. I don't know. But yeah, this is just one that I personally can't wear. But I think if you like Angel Muse and you want a lighter version of that, or a cheaper version that you can wear a bit more regularly, and you don't mind like the sweetness and you like the idea of that like a really juicy orange mixed in, then I think you'd love this perfume. I personally am not going to wear this, but it's not one that I hate at all. I just don't like that midsection. And then in the deep dry down, it's just very, very sugary for me. But yeah, I do think this is absolutely a bargain if you can get hold of it, if you really like Angel Muse. So worth having in that respect. So next up, I've got another Lujo. So this is Lovely You. And this one comes in this bottle with an annoying clinky thing on it. It has this cool big lid, and then for some reason, I'm not sure if this one's actually supposed to come off with the other lid, but anyway, it seems to just come out. Yeah, I think maybe that's supposed to stay in there, but for some reason it just doesn't because it's tight. I think it's quite a cool bottle. If I was keeping it, I'd probably take this bit off and just have it without. But anyway, it's got this clanky thing on it. So this one does not work for me. I can understand that it's pretty. I think that other people might like this one, but it just doesn't work for me. So the top notes here are ground cherry. So not as in like ground up cherry, like ground cherry. So I think over here we call them Phyllis. You get them often as decorative things. They're like almost in what looks like a kind of skeleton leaf wrapped around it with like a little sharp berry inside. My mum and I like eating them. They're nice. But they are very sharp. And then red currant and nectarine. 3 very sharp fruits, so bear it in mind. Mid notes are mandarin blossom, wild rose and freesia, and then the base notes are toffee, white musk and patchouli. So I don't really get much patchouli here. That's not an issue for me here. The white musk might be a bit sharp and shampooey for my liking, which often white musk is. But my issue here is that it is so sharp. Like those fruits are so sharp. And what I hoped, obviously, was that the toffee would be strong enough to balance that out. I cannot smell toffee in this perfume. I get almost no sweetness outside of what is the natural fructose sweetness that you do get in fruits. It's so sharp to me. I don't smell toffee at all. And when I ordered this, toffee was voted as the top note. So that might be my nose. Again, it might be because there's ambroxan or some kind of aroma chemical in here that makes it smell so sharp. It has beautiful, beautiful spring-like florals. It really does, but it smells like a very sharp, fruity floral shampoo, and that is just not a kind of vibe that I can deal with. It's not the kind of profile that I personally can wear. This is far too sharp for my liking, and not balanced enough for me personally. But what I'll say about this one is if you like something like the Jimmy Choo floral, the one that's like it's like the original bottle, but it's green and it's a bit taller. If you like that kind of thing, then it's probably this is gonna work for you. It's got a very similar sharp, almost underripe nectarine note in this. That one I think does have ambroxan in, which is probably why it didn't work, and it's very possible this one does too. And that might just mean that's why I can't smell the toffee. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a terrible perfume. Again, it's just not for me at all. And that is it, guys. That's all of the things that I have got over the last year or two that have been sitting in my box waiting to be reviewed. And these are things I want to pass on, so I just wanted to make sure I talked about them before they left my collection. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like my channel, if you like my content, please do consider subscribing to my channel because it makes a huge difference to YouTubers if you actually subscribe. Let me know if you have any of these. Let me know if you like any of them or if you have anything from the houses that you like. I hope you have a lovely week or weekend whenever you're watching this. Bye, guys.